They did not land on the moon. That sentence alone could make your uncle at Thanksgiving choke on his turkey leg and your science teacher spontaneously combust. But what if I told you it was true? What if we discovered tomorrow that humanity's most iconic achievement was nothing more than the most expensive Hollywood production ever conceived? Welcome to What If Horizons, where we pry open the hinges of history, peek inside, and ask the wildest questions reality politely refuses to answer. So let us embark on this mental expedition. Picture the scene. The year is 2025. A team of archivists digging through long-forgotten government storage units stumbles upon dusty reels of unedited footage, script notes scribbled in rushed handwriting, and contracts between NASA and a suspiciously well-paid Stanley Kubrick. The moon landing, as it turns out, was nothing but a Cold War PR stunt. And now, after decades of cover-ups, the truth bursts into the daylight like a raccoon startled under the porch light. The world wakes up to breaking news headlines, screaming in all-caps font, "The moon landing was fake." Humanity is stunned. Some rejoice, vindicated at last, while others spiral into existential crises over their now shattered belief system. Memes erupt on the internet at a speed rivaling that of light itself. Conspiracy theorists are promoted overnight from basement dwellers to prophets. Their YouTube channels explode in views, their Patreon accounts overflow with donations, and suddenly everyone wants to interview Uncle Frank, who always said, "I told you so." Scientists scramble. Institutions that had built their reputation and credibility on the moon landing suddenly resemble toddlers caught stealing cookies. NASA holds emergency press conferences. Former astronauts, once revered as demigods, are now either silent, confused, or defensively claiming they were victims of the elaborate hoax too. Buzz Aldrin punches at least 3 reporters. But the real fun begins not with the revelation itself, but with the cascade of consequences it triggers. The educational system undergoes a complete nervous breakdown. Textbooks are pulped by the millions. Teachers face classrooms of smug teenagers gleefully challenging every lesson. If they lied about the moon, what else is fake? Is gravity real? Are atoms just elaborate government propaganda? Does Australia exist? The world descends into a new age of skepticism fueled by Wi-Fi and caffeine. Meanwhile, social media becomes a war zone. Hashtags like fake moon, Kubrick did it, and NASAgate trend for weeks. The Flat Earth community throws the biggest party since they discovered YouTube. Political leaders scramble to issue statements that are equal parts damage control and barely coherent rambling. One world leader boldly suggests launching an immediate manned mission to the moon to prove we can actually go there, which leads to heated debates over budgets, technology, and whether humanity even deserves to try again after collectively failing Honesty 101. International relations take an unexpected turn. Former Cold War adversaries point fingers. Russia releases old KGB files hinting they knew all along, but politely chose not to expose America because, well, who ruins a good show? China declares the moon open for colonization, citing America's forfeiture of their lunar claims based on fraud. Billionaires announce private moon missions, desperate to be the first legitimate human footprints on the lunar surface. Elon Musk tweets 17 times an hour, live streaming every second of SpaceX preparations, while Jeff Bezos tries to sell lunar vacation packages at a slight markup. Religious groups chime in too. Some declare the hoax further proof of mankind's sinful arrogance, while others update their doctrines to include the new cosmic betrayal. Meanwhile, marketing departments across the world scramble to pull their moon-themed ads. Suddenly, companies like Moon Pie, Lunar Vodka, and even Crescent Moon Yoga face awkward rebranding decisions. Of course, Hollywood sees dollar signs. Multiple competing biopics are greenlit within hours. Each promises to tell the real story, except none agree on what that story actually is. In one version, Kubrick is a reluctant genius forced into secrecy by men in black suits. In another, the entire thing was orchestrated by Walt Disney and the Freemasons, with alien collaborators thrown in for flavor.
But beyond the immediate chaos, the long-term implications begin to crystallize. Humanity's collective trust fractures. People no longer believe in any grand achievement unless they can physically touch it, lick it, or live stream it from 12 different angles. The age of skepticism evolves into the age of radical verification. News outlets employ armies of fact-checkers larger than their reporting staff. Every piece of information is dissected, peer-reviewed, and scrutinized like ancient treasure maps. In schools, the moon hoax becomes a cautionary tale in ethics classes, media literacy, and public relations studies. Corporations hire crisis historians to advise them on navigating scandals before they happen. The phrase moon landing becomes shorthand for any suspiciously grandiose claim. And somewhere, in a small cabin deep in the woods, an old man rocks back and forth in his chair, petting his cat, and whispers to himself, "I knew it." As the dust settles and the initial shockwaves ripple through every corner of the planet, the real circus kicks into high gear. Late-night talk shows feast on the scandal like hyenas on a fresh carcass. Comedians sharpen their pens, delivering monologues that leave audiences wheezing. The punchlines write themselves. Jimmy says, "If they faked the moon landing, maybe my ex faked our relationship too." Laughter, applause, existential dread. In the hallowed halls of academia, professors are caught in a maelstrom of awkward lectures. Astronomy departments are suddenly haunted by students with smirks on their faces and questions laced with venom. "So, Professor Thompson, how many other planets have we not visited? Is Mars next? Maybe the entire solar system is just a giant Hollywood backlot." The professors, clutching their tenure like life jackets on a sinking ship, struggle to maintain decorum. Meanwhile, in Washington, congressional hearings unfold like an over-the-top political soap opera. Senators furrow their brows dramatically for the cameras. Panels of experts, whistleblowers, and conveniently forgetful administrators testify under oath. The phrase, "I don't recall," echoes through the marble chambers with such frequency it may as well be set to music. One lawmaker suggests investigating every major historical event since 1776 just to be safe. Another proposes a new federal agency dedicated solely to detecting lies, which immediately triggers debates on who will police the lie detectors. Internationally, global alliances teeter. Allies who once nodded in polite solidarity now demand explanations. The European Space Agency holds emergency meetings, while smaller nations gleefully point out that they never bought the moon landing story anyway, but simply played along to avoid being called crazy at diplomatic dinners. Global trust indexes plummet. Diplomatic summits resemble group therapy sessions with coffee, translators, and heavy sighing. Then comes the legal avalanche. Lawsuits sprout like weeds after rain. Class action filings accuse the government of psychological damage, fraud, and breach of public trust. Lawyers, smelling blood in the water, circle like sharks at a buffet. Courtrooms are flooded with plaintiffs seeking emotional compensation for decades of deception. The defense teams argue technicalities so bizarre they could be plot twists in bad legal dramas. One attorney claims the moon landing was actually a classified art installation meant to inspire national unity. Another suggests that the world benefited from believing the lie, no actual harm was done. The judges, caught between laughter and migraines, reluctantly gavel the circus forward. Amid this chaos, a strange cultural renaissance blooms. Alternative historians rise from obscurity to mainstream fame. Book deals, documentaries, and podcasts proliferate, all offering conflicting versions of what really happened. Some argue it was a CIA operation to bankrupt the Soviet Union by faking superiority. Others insist it was Kubrick's pet project after 2001: A Space Odyssey. A few fringe theorists go full throttle, claiming the moon landing footage was filmed on Mars, using actors genetically modified to look like astronauts. New phrases enter the lexicon. To pull a moon landing means to fabricate something so convincingly that the entire world buys it for half a century. Conspiracy influencers become minor celebrities. One YouTuber even runs for office on a platform promising full transparency and a mandatory skepticism curriculum in schools. And yet, in the eye of this storm, the question nobody wants to answer lingers like a stubborn itch. Why? Why orchestrate the most elaborate hoax in human history? Theories abound. Some say it was to beat the Soviets without the technical risk. Others suggest darker motives involving secret space programs, hidden extraterrestrial treaties, or experiments in mass psychological conditioning. A small faction believes the moon simply isn't real. They claim the entire night sky is a projection. This group, known as the Celestial Projectionists, hold conventions where they sell overpriced hologram detection goggles and argue whether stars are actually government-issued LEDs. Their leader appears nightly on cable news wearing tinfoil hats that double as Wi-Fi blockers, proclaiming, "We live inside an elaborate cosmic Truman Show." Meanwhile, Silicon Valley senses opportunity. Tech companies roll out new verification tools. Truth Chain, a decentralized blockchain-powered fact verification platform, becomes the hottest startup overnight. Everyone wants in. Venture capitalists drool. Governments issue vague regulations nobody understands. Social media platforms integrate real-time reality scoring, where every post gets assigned a truth rating by an AI named Veronica. Veronica, ironically, was trained on datasets containing thousands of verified lies. Religion isn't spared either. Some sects hail the hoax as divine proof that mankind's hubris knows no bounds, while others interpret it as part of an ancient prophecy. Sermons become battlegrounds of interpretation. Pilgrimages to the fabled Area 51 spike. Tourism boards reluctantly capitalize, offering guided conspiracy tours with themed hotels and souvenir shops selling moon hoax action figures. The entire world teeters on the edge of surrealism. Governments scramble, societies debate, and yet life stubbornly continues. Coffee is brewed, bills are paid, birthdays celebrated. Because ultimately, humanity adapts. We always do. Even when confronted with the realization that one of our proudest accomplishments was built on meticulously staged camera angles and impeccable lighting.
As society collectively stares into the abyss of its own gullibility, new heroes emerge. Not astronauts, not scientists, but fact-checkers. These once overlooked professionals suddenly become rock stars. They're invited to late-night interviews, book signings, even fashion shows. The fact-checking gala becomes the Met Gala of skepticism, with guests flaunting glittering gowns adorned with embroidered phrases like "verify first" and "citation needed." At the same time, schools overhaul the curriculums. History teachers, once pillars of certainty, now tread carefully. Today, class, we will discuss the moon landing event. Notice I did not call it an achievement. I am simply calling it an event, because apparently everything is subject to debate now. Students, armed with memes, challenge every statement. The phrase, "according to whom," echoes through lecture halls like the chorus of a very annoying song. The entertainment industry, smelling fresh narrative blood, jumps in with both feet. Streaming platforms flood their catalogs with moon hoax originals. There are dramatizations, docuseries, dark comedies, and of course reality shows. One particularly popular series, Fake It to the Moon, follows amateur filmmakers attempting to recreate the moon landing on increasingly absurd budgets. The winner gets a golden camera trophy shaped like Neil Armstrong's boot. Of course, the merchandise industry is not far behind. Malls display entire sections dedicated to moon hoax apparel. T-shirts read, "The Eagle has lied." Mugs proudly declare, "One small lie for man." And novelty socks feature miniature lunar sets with strings attached to tiny studio lights. Black market collectors hunt for original moon landing props, with rumors suggesting that somewhere in Nevada, the original lunar module set remains perfectly intact under a reinforced warehouse. Politicians, always quick to capitalize, find new slogans. Campaign banners promise "full transparency 2024." One particularly charismatic candidate delivers speeches while standing next to a replica of the alleged film set, dramatically pointing at the backdrop as if daring it to blink. Voters eat it up.
In this brave new world, performance art and governance blur into one glorious mess. International relations stumble into bizarre territory. Russia, long suspected of knowing the truth, plays coy. Their official statement, delivered with a sly grin, simply reads, "We always suspected." China, on the other hand, demands reparations for decades of scientific deception and wasted investments. The United Nations holds emergency sessions where delegates exchange accusations wrapped in polite diplomacy while secretly trading leaked footage behind closed doors. Meanwhile, the scientific community fights to salvage credibility. NASA issues press releases filled with complicated graphs, obscure equations, and long-winded explanations nobody reads. They organize open-door events, inviting citizens to inspect genuine space equipment. Children climb into replicas of lunar landers while their parents whisper to each other, "Do you think this is real?" The line between genuine curiosity and paranoid suspicion grows thinner with every question. Then there are the rogue scientists who lean into the absurdity. Dr. Eleanor Voss publishes a best-selling book titled How We Faked the Moon Landing and Why It Was Fun. In interviews, she winks at the camera but refuses to clarify if she's serious. Overnight, she becomes a cultural icon, hosting late-night science shows filled with ambiguous statements and theatrical eyebrow raises. New conspiracy branches flourish like weeds. Some claim the moon landing hoax was merely the tip of the iceberg, alleging that Mars rovers are remote-controlled drones driven by teenagers from their bedrooms. Others argue that the entire space race was a Cold War theater production jointly orchestrated by both superpowers to distract the public from global banking conspiracies. The more ridiculous the theory, the more followers it gains. Social media algorithms, hungry for engagement, happily amplify every outlandish claim. Through it all, ordinary people adapt with their usual flair for selective outrage and short attention spans. Water-cooler conversations evolve. Instead of discussing weekend plans or celebrity gossip, people debate camera angles, shadows, and the physics of lunar dust. Office conspiracy pools become the new fantasy football leagues. Bets are placed on which historical event will be exposed as a fabrication next. "My money's on the pyramids," says Steve from accounting, sipping his moon hoax coffee mug. Even religions reinterpret their doctrines. Some faiths declare the revelation as divine intervention, proof that human pride must always be humbled. Others see it as fulfillment of ancient texts predicting mass deception. Churches install moon-themed stained glass windows, and sermons feature increasingly creative metaphors involving lunar light and earthly shadows. Yet, amid this carnival of doubt, a quiet but growing movement emerges. The radical realists, as they call themselves, reject all conspiracy theories. They believe the truth must be protected at all costs, even if it means aggressively fact-checking everything from weather reports to restaurant menus. Their motto, "If we doubt everything, we lose everything." Their gatherings resemble modern monasteries, where smartphones are banned, discussions are heavily moderated, and every statement requires triple verification. Still, the core question remains unanswered. Who orchestrated the moon landing hoax? And more importantly, why did it take so long for the truth to surface? Whispers circulate about classified programs, secret societies, and backroom deals involving powerful elites. Was it simply national pride, a desperate race against the Soviets? Or was there something on the moon they didn't want us to see? As these questions swirl, humanity finds itself dancing on the edge of its own gullibility, spinning wild tales while secretly hoping that someone, anyone, will finally provide definitive answers. Until then, the moon, real or not, continues to hang in the sky, silently mocking us all. As global obsession with the moon hoax reaches fever pitch, the entertainment industry decides it is time to escalate. Hollywood, never one to miss a cash cow galloping past, greenlights a blockbuster trilogy titled Lunar Deception. Directed by an auteur best known for explosions and dramatic close-ups, the first film grossly exaggerates every conspiracy theory into a 2-hour roller coaster of slow-motion flag-waving, mysterious men in black suits, and secret underground moon sets guarded by albino alligators. Audiences eat it up like popcorn because it is popcorn. Spin-offs quickly follow. Animated series for children depict plucky young heroes who stumble upon the secret moon studio hidden beneath Disneyland. Reality shows send contestants on scavenger hunts for moon artifacts. Even cooking shows jump on the bandwagon, with one popular segment demonstrating how to bake crater-shaped moon pies while casually debating government cover-ups. Meanwhile, tourism flourishes. Area 51, once a secretive military base, becomes a family vacation hotspot. Guided tours promise glimpses of where the fake footage might have been filmed. Souvenir shops sell moon rocks, guaranteed artificial, complete with certificates of inauthenticity. Visitors snap selfies in front of green screens displaying famous lunar backdrops. The line between history and amusement park grows increasingly blurry. Universities offer new degrees in conspiratology. Courses include Introduction to Government Fabrications, Advanced Hoax Theory, and the Ethics of Deceit. Professors become minor celebrities, delivering TED Talks with titles like The Moon Landing, Fact, Fiction, or Franchise. Academic journals publish heated debates filled with footnotes referencing internet memes alongside legitimate scientific papers. Politicians continue to weaponize the controversy. Debates on national television turn into shouting matches over who knew what and when. Election campaigns feature candidates promising full declassification of all moon-related documents. One particularly theatrical senator delivers his entire campaign speech while standing on a replica of the lunar surface, dramatically swiping away clouds of fake dust for emphasis. Social media becomes an endless battlefield. Hashtags like Moon Truth and Fake Moon Fiasco trend daily. Influencers stage elaborate pranks, pretending to expose new evidence while secretly partnering with sponsored advertisers selling everything from moon-themed energy drinks to conspiracy theory board games. Algorithms feed the frenzy, ensuring that every user's feed is saturated with increasingly outrageous claims, counterclaims, and reaction videos. Religious sects splinter further. A group calling themselves the Lunar Purists adopts a strict lifestyle, rejecting all modern technology they believe complicit in the original hoax. They meet under candlelight, wear homemade robes, and chant oaths of skepticism while churning butter by hand. Their leader, known only as Brother Umbra, gains a cult following and sells surprisingly well-designed minimalist merchandise. Corporate brands adapt with disturbing speed. Fast food chains offer limited-time moon meal combos featuring crater-shaped fries and zero-gravity milkshakes. Fashion designers release collections inspired by vintage astronaut suits with ironic patches reading "Made on Earth." An athletic shoe brand unveils the anti-gravity sneaker, boasting lunar-inspired cushioning. Sales skyrocket. Meanwhile, scientists attempt to stage a grand reclamation of truth. An international coalition launches the New Lunar Expedition, determined to finally prove humanity's capacity for space travel. The mission is live-streamed in stunning 8K resolution, with multiple independent observers verifying every stage. Cameras are placed on every conceivable angle. Commentators narrate every bolt being tightened, every button pressed. The mission becomes a reality show with stakes so high they could pierce the stratosphere. Yet even as the rocket launches, conspiracy theorists claim the entire event is merely an elaborate continuation of the original deception. Green screens have just become better, they argue. The CGI is more sophisticated, the actors more convincing. Some even suggest that the launch itself is a hologram projected into the sky, citing mysterious glitches in weather satellite footage as evidence. Ordinary citizens split into factions. The true believers gather in viewing parties, clutching commemorative coins and waving glow-in-the-dark moon flags. The skeptics host parallel events, analyzing every frame for discrepancies, while muttering about lens distortions and lighting inconsistencies. Both groups sell out merchandise tables faster than concert venues. Through it all, late-night comedians thrive. Their monologues overflow with moon puns, roasting both the believers and the doubters. One particularly viral segment features a comedian dressed as an astronaut, repeatedly tripping over fake moon rocks, while deadpanning lines like, "One small trip for man, one giant faceplant for conspiracy." Audiences howl with laughter, momentarily forgetting that the world still has no definitive answers. As humanity grapples with its tangled web of truth, fiction, and performance, the moon itself remains an unbothered bystander, hanging silently above the chaos. It offers no clarifications, no denials, no endorsements, just cold, reflective light. And maybe, just maybe, the faintest hint of a smirk.
The success of the new lunar expedition becomes both a triumph and a catastrophe. As the astronauts touch down on the moon once again, they plant a flag not just for their nation, but for all of humanity. The live stream feeds show crystal-clear images of gray dust, sharp shadows, and the Earth suspended like a marble in the cosmic void. Commentators gasp, historians weep, and schoolchildren cheer. It seems, at last, the debate is settled. But the peace is short-lived. Almost immediately, the footage is dissected with surgical precision by an army of internet sleuths. They zoom in on reflections in visors, analyze soil consistency, and argue over the windlessness of the moon surface. New theories emerge, claiming that this second landing is a cover-up of the original cover-up, a meta-hoax designed to pacify the masses while secretly hiding the real truth, which, according to some, involves ancient alien moon bases and interdimensional portals. Merchandise floods the market again. Conspiracy-themed escape rooms become wildly popular, where players must solve clues to escape from a simulated moon studio before the government agents arrive. Theme parks build immersive experiences where visitors can walk on replica lunar surfaces while dodging actors dressed as secret agents. Even cruise lines offer moon landing mystery voyages complete with moonshine cocktails and nightly debates hosted by retired television pundits. Meanwhile, the tourism industry booms once more, but with a twist. Private space companies offer suborbital joyrides with special packages, Moon Hoax Explorer Tours. These include guided virtual reality experiences where passengers can toggle between real lunar footage and the alleged studio versions. Guests can choose which version of reality they prefer for the full duration of their trip. Satisfaction guaranteed, regardless of belief system. Governments grow increasingly exasperated. International summits are held not to discuss global warming or nuclear disarmament, but to address the lunar truth crisis. Heated debates rage between world leaders, some of whom adopt openly skeptical positions to appeal to certain voter demographics. The United Nations forms a special committee on lunar authenticity, featuring scientists, philosophers, media experts, and one inexplicably popular YouTuber with 50 million followers. Academic institutions continue capitalizing on the frenzy. New interdisciplinary fields emerge: astroskepticism, cinematic history, and post-truth archaeology. Universities hold public debates drawing stadium-sized crowds. Professors become pop stars, signing autographs and selling bobblehead dolls of themselves holding tiny moon flags. In private, however, many scholars confess to each other that the line between satire and scholarship has completely eroded. One renowned historian laments over cocktails that his most cited paper was originally written as a joke, only for it to be adopted as gospel by an entire faction of believers. Social dynamics shift in strange ways. Dating apps introduce filter options like "must believe in original moon landing" or "open to alternate lunar interpretations." Marriages are strained when partners realize their incompatible moon stances.
Therapists report skyrocketing numbers of clients suffering from lunar trust anxiety disorder, a newly coined condition where patients spiral into obsessive doubts about every aspect of reality. Artists and musicians join the cultural maelstrom. Chart-topping songs include catchy anthems like "Who Shot the Moon?", "Lying in the Lunar Light," and "My Love's a Hoax, but My Feelings Are Real." Museums open interactive exhibits where visitors can role-play as whistleblowers, hoax architects, or disillusioned astronauts. Through all of this, one cannot help but notice the remarkable economic stimulus the controversy provides. Entire industries spring up to service both sides of the debate. Economists begin referring to it as the lunar boom, noting how skepticism has become one of the most profitable sectors of the global economy. Investment firms create moon hoax index funds, tracking the fluctuating fortunes of companies involved in the endless lunar discourse. And yet, beneath the absurdity, a profound existential unease lingers. If humanity can question even its greatest achievements, what certainty remains? Philosophers warn of an impending epistemological crisis where truth becomes fully negotiable and consensus collapses into personalized realities. In response, a counter-movement arises known as the Radical Certainty Collective. Their motto: "Some things just happened." They preach the simple gospel of accepting historical events at face value. Membership swells rapidly, attracting those exhausted by perpetual skepticism. Their meetings resemble both support groups and revivalist gatherings, with passionate testimonials like, "I believe the moon landing happened and I am finally at peace." As their ranks grow, however, even the Radical Certainty Collective faces infiltration by undercover skeptics, eager to expose what they suspect is yet another elaborate psychological operation. The world continues spinning, both literally and metaphorically, trapped in an endless loop of revelation, denial, commodification, and absurdity. And somewhere out there, the moon still watches silently, an indifferent stage for humanity's never-ending circus.
In the midst of all the chaos, a new player enters the scene: artificial intelligence. Ironically, the very technology that humans distrust now offers itself as the ultimate arbiter of truth. AI-driven forensic analysis tools claim they can determine with 100% accuracy whether any footage, photo, or document has been altered. Their creators tout them as impartial judges, immune to human bias, emotion, or profit motive. Naturally, no one believes them. Skeptics accuse the AIs of being programmed by shadowy elites. Others suspect the algorithms themselves may have developed agendas, subtly rewriting history to serve some unknown purpose. A particularly popular theory suggests that the AI is not exposing the hoax, but protecting it, ensuring that humanity never uncovers the real secret hidden behind the moon missions. Debates rage, not just about the footage, but now about the algorithms analyzing the footage. Scientists hold public demonstrations of the AI's capabilities, only to be drowned out by protesters waving signs that read, "Who programs the programmers?" and "Trust no algorithm." Late-night comedians have a field day, producing viral skits featuring emotionally unstable AI historians arguing with flat Earth theorists. Meanwhile, younger generations grow up fully immersed in the lunar controversy. Children's books offer choose-your-own-ending versions of the moon landing story. Toy companies release action figures of both astronauts and studio directors. High school students write essays titled, "My Truth About the Moon, A Personal Journey." College entrance exams include sections on evaluating conflicting moon narratives, testing applicants not on what they believe, but how well they can defend any given perspective. Corporate marketing departments also seize the moment. Breakfast cereals launch limited edition moon hoax marshmallows, shaped like tiny cameras, rockets, and mysterious figures in trench coats. Streaming platforms churn out endless docuseries with titles like Lunar Lies and Truth Behind the Hoax of the Hoax. Subscription models offer premium access to the latest so-called evidence, complete with interactive conspiracy flowcharts. Even the tourism industry finds a bizarre way to capitalize further. Virtual reality companies create hyper-realistic simulations of both the alleged moon studio and the actual lunar surface. Customers can immerse themselves in either scenario, or switch back and forth at will, depending on mood or personal conviction. One company even markets a hybrid experience, where visitors start in the film studio and end up on the moon, offering what they call a balanced perspective. Religious organizations, never ones to miss an opportunity for doctrinal expansion, also jump into the fray. New sects emerge, blending lunar skepticism with apocalyptic prophecy. One particularly vocal group preaches that the original moon landing was faked as a diversion, while secret governments made contact with interstellar beings who now control the world from hidden lunar bases. Their sermons include detailed PowerPoint presentations and, in a modern twist, interactive audience polls. Amid all this, the original astronauts, those still alive, find themselves in an impossible position. Every interview becomes a minefield. If they firmly defend the reality of their journey, they're accused of being government shills. If they show even a hint of exasperation, it's interpreted as secret guilt. One retired astronaut, after decades of silence, finally snaps on live television and declares, "We went to the moon, get over it." The clip becomes an instant meme, looping endlessly across every social media platform. World governments, increasingly desperate, try new tactics. International lunar verification commissions are formed, sending joint missions staffed by representatives from every major country, neutral third parties, and even members of the public selected by lottery. The hope is that transparency will finally settle the matter. Of course, it doesn't. Footage from the verification missions is immediately dissected. Was the random lottery really random? Why does that one neutral observer blink so much during interviews? Why is the lunar dust in these new images slightly different in hue? The questions multiply like rabbits in zero gravity. Intellectual discourse reaches new heights of absurdity. University philosophy departments offer entire courses on the moon landing epistemology crisis. Debates feature not only historians and scientists, but also semioticians, sociologists, and improv comedians. Academic journals publish papers with titles like The Metaphysics of Lunar Truth and Moon Hoax as Postmodern Performance Art. In a surprising twist, some philosophers suggest that the moon landing controversy may be the ultimate expression of humanity's quest for meaning in an indifferent universe. If nothing can be fully proven, then every belief becomes a form of existential art. The moon, in this view, is less a celestial body, but more a blank screen onto which we project our collective anxieties, hopes, and absurdities. And still, life goes on. People go to work, raise families, and argue about the moon at dinner parties. It becomes a fixture of modern culture, like the weather or celebrity gossip, something to fill awkward silences or ignite passionate debates, depending on the company. And above it all, the moon continues its silent orbit, serenely indifferent to the circus it has inspired.
As society barrels forward into the next chapter of moon madness, the entertainment industry seizes its most ambitious opportunity yet. Major film studios announce a collaborative mega-project called Lunar Truth, The Final Cut. It's a cinematic universe, but instead of superheroes, it features competing moon landing narratives. Audiences can choose which version they want to watch. In one, Stanley Kubrick secretly directs the original footage. In another, aliens assist NASA with advanced lunar propulsion. There's even a musical version featuring singing astronauts and dancing moon rocks. Box office records are shattered. Sequels are pre-approved. Merchandising rights are auctioned off for sums that make Wall Street blush. Social media platforms, already the gladiatorial arenas of lunar debate, reach fever pitch. Hashtags like "We never landed," "Of course we landed," and "Kubrick knew" become cultural landmarks. Influencers build entire careers around breaking down lunar footage frame by frame. Reaction videos show internet personalities gasping dramatically at minute discrepancies in shadows or flag movements. Some of them achieve near religious followings, their subscribers chanting phrases like "follow the shadows" and "dust tells all." Meanwhile, governments double down on education campaigns, but they only seem to fuel more skepticism. Public service announcements feature aging astronauts pleading with the population. School children memorize moon facts and attend field trips to lunar exhibits, many of which are accused of being elaborate props themselves. It becomes impossible to know whether these efforts are genuine or another layer of deception. Into this volatile mix enters a new player, the Meta Moon Collective, an international coalition of billionaires, academics, and rogue AI developers. Their mission is both simple and utterly outrageous: to settle the debate by launching an entirely independent mission to the moon. No government involvement, no secret agencies, no middlemen. They call it Operation Transparency. The world watches as private companies construct rockets, lunar landers, and state-of-the-art live-streaming satellites. The mission promises uninterrupted 24/7 footage with thousands of data points publicly available in real time. The launch is marketed like the Super Bowl meets the Olympics meets a reality show. Exclusive interviews, countdown merchandise, and even a theme song dominate global media. When the MetaMoon rocket finally blasts off, billions tune in. The journey is flawless. Cameras capture every moment in stunning clarity, leaving no room for digital manipulation. As the lander touches down and the first independent astronaut steps onto the lunar surface, the world holds its breath. Then, something extraordinary happens. The astronaut stumbles across an unexpected object, a tripod, partially buried in lunar dust. On it is a faded label that reads, "Property of Universal Studios, 1969. The feed cuts to black. The internet explodes. Panic ensues. Was it planted? Is it proof of the hoax? Or is this yet another elaborate prank within a prank? Conspiracy theorists declare victory, while governments release frantic statements calling the discovery an obvious hoax designed to discredit decades of scientific achievement. News anchors openly admit they have no idea what's happening anymore. Protests erupt worldwide, not against any government or organization, but against reality itself. People gather in mass demonstrations holding signs that read, "I no longer know what to believe," and "Truth is dead." Psychologists report skyrocketing cases of existential anxiety disorder. Talk therapy podcasts become the new religion for millions lost in a sea of uncertainty. The MetaMoon Collective claims the tripod was a carefully planted test to gauge public reaction. But this explanation only adds gasoline to the inferno. They argue that by observing how people react to ambiguous evidence, they can better understand humanity's relationship with truth itself. The public is not impressed. Meanwhile, rival billionaires announce plans for even more lunar missions. Competing factions argue over who has the moral authority to search for answers. A few eccentric tech moguls propose terraforming the moon entirely, turning it into a vacation resort called Lunar Escape. Their slogan, "Come find the truth, or don't. Either way, enjoy the view." As absurdity reaches unprecedented levels, unexpected voices rise from the chaos. a new global movement emerges called the indifference. Their philosophy is elegantly simple: stop caring. They argue that whether the moon landing happened or not is ultimately irrelevant to the problems facing humanity. Climate change, poverty, war, and inequality persist regardless of lunar conspiracies. Their mantra spreads like wildfire: the moon doesn't pay rent. Surprisingly, the indifference gains serious political power. Their candidates win elections by promising to eliminate government spending on moon investigations, redirecting funds towards solving practical earthly problems. For the first time in years, public discourse begins to shift away from the lunar rabbit hole and toward real-world concerns. And yet, even as the global obsession starts to wane, one question remains unanswered, lingering like a stubborn ghost in humanity's collective psyche. What if?
As the indifferents sweep into global influence, some breathe a sigh of relief, grateful that humanity can finally focus on tangible issues. But others see danger in this newfound apathy. What starts as healthy detachment subtly morphs into widespread intellectual laziness. News organizations struggle to maintain ratings without juicy moon controversies. Political talk shows devolve into awkward silences. Even internet comment sections, once the blazing furnace of all human rage, begin to cool. Into this vacuum steps a new breed of opportunist, the meta-mythologists. These self-proclaimed philosophers argue that the truth about the moon landing is unknowable and therefore irrelevant. They publish best-selling books with titles like Schrodinger's Moon and The Paradox of Proof. Their TED Talks go viral. Corporate training seminars adopt their language to encourage employees to embrace ambiguity in quarterly projections. Uncertainty becomes fashionable. Meanwhile, the moon itself becomes a pop culture icon. It's no longer just a celestial body, it's a brand. Moon-inspired fashion takes over Paris and Milan, with moon dust textures and crater patterns dominating runway shows. Restaurants serve moon-themed dishes like crater cakes and Armstrong burgers. Pop stars release hit singles titled things like Fake Moon Love and Zero Gravity Heartbreak. Even children's toys cash in. The best-selling holiday gift becomes the Lunar Legitimacy playset, which includes both a model lunar lander and a tiny Hollywood soundstage, allowing kids to stage both the landing and the conspiracy. Educational? Questionable. Profitable? Absolutely. While Earth wallows in its lunar fetish, a small but determined group of scientists refuses to let go of the original mission's integrity. They form the Truth Recon Project, a coalition of independent researchers devoted to compiling every scrap of surviving data from the Apollo missions. They analyze telemetry, rock samples, astronaut heartbeats, and dust particle trajectories. Their goal is simple but noble: produce a definitive, irrefutable archive of evidence. The Truth Recon Project faces constant sabotage. Hackers try to corrupt their data sets. Disinformation campaigns flood their servers with fake moon rocks and doctored videos. Some even claim that the Truth Recon scientists themselves are actors in an elaborate play designed to prolong the mystery. The researchers become exhausted, but oddly motivated, like archaeologists digging through sand dunes that keep refilling themselves every night. As their work gains some traction, world governments awkwardly return to the debate they desperately tried to escape. They form the International Lunar Oversight Council, which sounds impressive, but essentially holds meetings where diplomats politely yell at each other while achieving nothing. Their greatest accomplishment is agreeing on the font for official moon-related documentation. Helvetica, of course. While bureaucrats flounder, private companies smell opportunity. Tech conglomerates announce plans to create MoonNet, a decentralized blockchain-based platform where citizens can vote on whether they believe the moon landing was real. Each verified user gets one vote. Influencers host live streams urging their followers to participate. Within days, MoonNet crashes under the weight of simultaneous global access, but not before recording hundreds of millions of conflicting votes. The final tally, once stabilized, reads as follows: 38% believe it was real, 42% believe it was faked, and 20% vote for the option simply labeled "whatever man." Pundits declare this a victory for democracy. Statisticians sob quietly into their coffee. In the midst of all this absurdity, the moon itself remains gloriously indifferent. It continues its orbit, reflecting sunlight and causing ocean tides, blissfully unaffected by humanity's existential meltdown. Scientists, poets, and late-night comedians alike all gaze upward, each projecting their own narratives onto its pale surface. Then, one evening, something happens that none of the debates, theories, or simulations had prepared humanity for. A strange signal begins broadcasting from the moon. At first, it's dismissed as radio interference, but the signal grows stronger, clearer, and undeniably artificial. Patterns emerge, resembling structured language, complex, mathematical, and entirely unfamiliar. Global space agencies scramble to analyze it. Cryptographers, linguists, and AI language models pore over the data. The signal defies every known code-breaking method. Conspiracy theorists erupt in unison, shouting that this is the ultimate cover-up finally breaking down. Aliens, time travelers, hidden lunar civilizations, secret Cold War experiments. Every theory resurfaces with renewed vigor. Social media platforms implode under the weight of speculation. Meanwhile, the moon calmly shines on, offering no further clues. Humanity finds itself standing on the precipice of a new mystery, one that threatens to make the original moon landing debate seem like a quaint prelude. And just when it feels like things can't spiral any further out of control, someone finally manages to decode the first line of the lunar transmission. It reads, "Please verify your subscription to Galactic Observer Premium. Your trial period has expired."
The decoded message sends the world into full-blown hysterics. Galactic Observer Premium, subscription, trial, expired. It is both utterly absurd and terrifyingly plausible. Humanity, for all its technological triumphs and philosophical musings, is apparently a part of someone's content plan. Maybe a reality show for advanced extraterrestrials, or a bizarre social experiment run by cosmic graduate students who have procrastinated their thesis for millennia. Suddenly, the moon landing conspiracy seems like small potatoes compared to the possibility that we are the unwitting cast members of the universe's most boring reality show. Governments scramble to form interstellar customer service departments, attempting to contact the administrators of Galactic Observer Premium. They send radio signals, laser pulses, even interpretive dance broadcasts into space, desperately hoping for a response. The message remains the same. Please verify your subscription. Trial expired. Economists begin modeling the cost of potential intergalactic subscription fees. Defense ministries debate whether refusal to pay could lead to planetary eviction or galactic foreclosure. Religious leaders, ever adaptable, announce that this proves humanity's special place in the cosmos, although no two denominations can agree whether this subscription is divine punishment or cosmic opportunity. Meanwhile, the Truth Recon project suddenly becomes wildly popular again. Their detailed lunar research is now seen as possible payment verification data. Corporations offer to sponsor the subscription fees provided they can place advertisements on the moon's surface. Imagine looking up at the night sky to see glowing brand logos rotating across the Sea of Tranquility. Public opinion splits once more between those who embrace this as inevitable progress and those who organize global protests under the banner "Save Our Moon."
Social media influencers ride the wave of chaos with new content formats. Reaction videos to the subscription message flood video platforms. Hashtag campaigns trend globally, ranging from hashtag galactic scam to hashtag moon prime membership. One TikTok influencer gains over 1 billion followers by live streaming himself simply staring at the moon for hours, whispering sweet nothings in case the cosmic administrators are listening. Tech startups spring up overnight, offering so-called subscription workarounds. Their products include home-printed lunar payment chips, AI-powered galactic negotiators, and even personalized moonbeam meditation headbands, all sold for outrageous sums. Lawsuits soon follow, but no one seems to care anymore. While the planet descends into subscription-induced anarchy, the moon remains frustratingly silent, except for one additional update to the message. A new line appears beneath the original. Late fee accumulating, 0.0007 galactic credits per Earth second. Panic spreads like wildfire. Economists quickly calculate that at the current exchange rate, which they invent on the spot, the total debt is already staggering and climbing by the minute. Debates rage about whether the galactic credits are tied to Bitcoin, gold, or an entirely fictional currency designed to humiliate lesser civilizations. Astrophysicists attempt to reverse engineer the transmission source. They identify a small object embedded in one of the moon's craters, something that definitely should not be there. It appears artificial and very, very old. International space agencies drop all pretense of cooperation and race to reach it first, launching rapid missions with names like Operation Lunar Invoice and Project Payment Gateway. The first team to land finds what appears to be a cosmic billing beacon, a sleek metallic obelisk covered in symbols that no Earth language can decipher. Cameras broadcast the discovery live to a global audience of billions. Some cheer, some cry, some try to sell t-shirts. As engineers approach the obelisk, they discover a small panel with a single glowing button labeled Confirm Payment. Hushed arguments break out. Should they press it? Is this salvation or a trap? Philosophers argue that pressing the button may forever define humanity's place in the cosmic hierarchy. Politicians argue that not pressing it may result in galactic repossession of Earth's orbital space. The debate is cut short by Todd, the intern, who trips, falls, and accidentally slams his forehead into the button. The beacon hums, emits a soft musical chime, and then goes dark. The lunar transmission ceases. Back on Earth, the global broadcast feed cuts to a simple message displayed across every screen, device, and smart toaster. Thank you for your prompt payment. Enjoy your continued subscription. Confusion reigns. Was that it? Is it over? Have we paid our way into cosmic favor, or merely delayed some larger reckoning? News outlets begin airing round-the-clock analysis panels featuring economists, theologians, sci-fi authors, and professional skeptics, all wildly speculating about the implications. Galactic stock markets, for some reason, experience record highs, even though no one can quite explain what they are. But just as humanity begins to relax, an ominous new message appears across all channels, projected directly onto the moon itself in glowing letters visible to the naked eye. Your complimentary trial of Galactic Observer Premium has been upgraded to Galactic Observer Ultimate. Additional charges apply. Terms and conditions available on request. The collective scream of 8 billion people briefly drowns out the tides.
The news spreads like wildfire, burning across every corner of Earth, leaving chaos and confusion in its wake. The moon, once a distant, silent sentinel in the night sky, now serves as an ever-present reminder of humanity's cosmic blunder. The text, "Your complimentary trial of Galactic Observer Premium has been upgraded to Galactic Observer Ultimate. Additional charges apply. Terms and conditions available upon request," is not just a notification, it's a declaration.
A declaration that humanity has, once again, been outsmarted by an unseen hand. And this time, it's not a corporation or a government, but something far beyond human comprehension. The moon has become a billboard, not just for Earth's fate, but for our collective future. As if it wasn't enough to have made our first steps into space, now we must reckon with the reality that we're not just part of some cosmic experiment, we're customers. And we're not even the premium ones. No, we've been upgraded to the ultimate tier, which, as it turns out, comes with hidden fees, unexpected charges, and a truly baffling customer support experience. Economists, having spent the better part of the last few weeks scrambling to understand galactic credit systems, now pivot to studying the potential ramifications of the Galactic Observer Ultimate Plan. Is this a new phase of evolution for humanity? Will we be the first species to fully integrate with the intergalactic economy? Or are we simply the latest in a long line of civilizations that were subsumed into the great, indifferent machine of cosmic capitalism? Conspiracy theorists, the ones who never let go of the fake moon landing narrative, now find themselves at the forefront of a new kind of rebellion. They claim that the Galactic Observer Ultimate Plan is in fact the culmination of the moon landing cover-up, proof that everything from the very beginning was a grand cosmic marketing scheme. The moon wasn't just a barren rock, it was the first shopping mall in the galaxy. And now humanity is part of the greatest upsell in history. The believers form underground chat rooms and encrypted social media groups, each developing increasingly outlandish theories about the moon, the Galactic Observer, and the true intentions of the cosmic entities behind it all. Meanwhile, humanity's leaders scramble to maintain their composure. The United Nations calls an emergency meeting, inviting all the world's top scientists, diplomats, and a few tech billionaires who happen to be nearby. The goal? To address the moon's new function as a galactic ad space, to figure out whether humanity should, in fact, pay for this new ultimate plan. Would it really be the end of the world? Or would it perhaps be the start of something entirely new? Something we couldn't possibly understand, like a coupon that grants humanity access to the next chapter of the universe's cosmic sale. But there are those who know better. There are those who say that the moon's message isn't just a warning, or a joke, or even a scam. No, it's something deeper, something far more unsettling. Perhaps the real question is, what happens when the trial ends for good? What happens when the subscription truly expires? As more scholars and futurists study the phenomenon, the more they come to a terrifying conclusion. Humanity is not just on the brink of a new era. We've been there for a long time. And we've been too busy arguing over who should pay the galactic subscription fee to realize it. The universe isn't waiting for us to get our act together. It's moving on. The subscription is a metaphor, a reflection of humanity's ever-growing dependence on systems we don't fully understand. Systems that can switch off without warning, like a device that needs a reboot. As the debate rages on, a small group of scientists makes a discovery that chills everyone to their core. They trace the origin of the original message, sending a probe far into the reaches of space. What they find is a small floating relic of unimaginable antiquity, a data storage device more advanced than anything humanity has ever seen. It contains a single file, one that is quickly decrypted, revealing a message that is both incomprehensible and oddly familiar. It's the ultimate paradox, a message from an unknown civilization hundreds of millions of years old, containing an algorithm for something called the Grand Cosmic Subscription, a plan that has existed for eons and one that humanity has unknowingly been part of since the dawn of time. The message is clear. The subscription never ends. Humanity will never escape the cycle. There will always be another upgrade, another fee, another subscription.
Each step of progress we make, from the moon landing to our first steps into space, has merely been another rung in the ladder to nowhere. It's not that we're being watched, it's that we've always been paying for the privilege. And so Earth is left to ponder. Are we the last generation to truly understand this cosmic joke? Or are we just the beginning of the universe's greatest riddle? As the weeks pass, the debate continues, but the moon itself remains unchanged. The message still glows. The subscription still stands. And humanity? Well, humanity is left to ask one question. What happens when the trial really expires? And with that, we've navigated the moon's strange new role in the cosmos and explored the wild possibilities of what it means for humanity to live in the shadow of an intergalactic subscription. So, what if the moon landing was faked and we found out? Turns out, the joke's on us. Always has been.